the main ask. But like myself, the governor and I, we agree on the legalization, the criminalization, expungement, and social equity.
That was the other one.
Yes.
Anyone who was in jail for something that's now legal would be released. And Representative Brown and I both had the same concerns that we make sure there's no violence in the person's background. I mean, if marijuana was added onto your sentence, but you also had a gun and you're a prior convicted felon, blah blah blah, we got to look at that. And we talked about maybe incorporating that into the parole board, case by case review of marijuana charges. I mean, this is all work in progress, and we're working together very hard, Democrat, Republican, dealing with our constituents and how to get it through. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to see an excellent product.
Well, truthfully, we didn't know exactly how people were going to testify today. I mean, that was one of the things I wanted to make it a pure hearing. I didn't want prescriptive testimony. I wanted to hear how people truly believed. And what we heard today is, look, it's out there. I mean, I think you get, as a law enforcement guy, especially guys like John Gosher who've been on the street forever, they've seen it for so long, and they just realized a lot of resources are being expended. People are dying from an unsafe product, and there's guns and violence behind every drug dealer. So let's tax it, regulate it, and let the cops do the work that really keeps people safe. Let's keep the fentanyl off the street. Let's keep the violent criminal off the street. Let's take the sex offender off the street. Let's do those things. People are going to smoke pot. They're smoking it now. It's not being arrested. It's not being regulated. It's not being taxed. Let's put this to good work for the people of Pennsylvania.
Like we all know, they have access to it already. So let's just make sure we get them the quality, safe product. It's where they can wake up the next morning after they have a good time.
Some say that, criticism say that even when you're trying to legalize it in order to eliminate the black market will still be there and could still be severely dangerous to some people. What are your thoughts on that?
With myself and Senator Regan on board, just like you mentioned, we're going to have a quality product, and what we produce for the state of Pennsylvania is definitely going to impact the black market. This is what we are set out to do. We're trying to make sure people, the public health is, we want our people to be safe. And the Commonwealth is going to generate hundreds of millions of dollars, and the black market is going to be a little upset, but it's the right thing to do for our constituents.
If you look at the black market, if I can interject, if you look at the black market, you look at prohibition. Someone brought it up today, and I think it's an excellent point. Al Capone ran his liquor business very much the same way the cartels run their marijuana business, through violence and intimidation and death and horrible crimes and violence all across our country. And once it became legal, again, it eventually went away, right? And I think that'd be the case here, because I think people will always opt for a safe product. I mean, not everyone will. And we still have people in West Virginia and, other states who have stills up in the mountainside and are making moonshine and making whiskey, but it's not a prominent thing. If you produce a safe product, if you regulate it properly, you make it affordable, it'll eventually knock out the bootleggers and the people who are trying to keep the illicit market alive.
What about just also impairing some reactions, whether it be driving or in the workplace, as we heard Ward talking about that in there?
Yeah, I think it's an important thing. As I mentioned, we're working with the Chamber of Commerce, with the National Federation of Independent Businessmen to try to develop language. But the point that's made is that people are smoking marijuana now and going to work. What are you doing now to test for that? People are drinking and going to work. What are you doing now? People are on opioids. What are you doing now to prevent that? I think the misconception is that this is going to be a brand new thing, that the person who never smoked pot before is now going to come to work high. I think that's unrealistic, and I think that I don't think there's anything. And again, one of the things I think that we're going to talk about with other states is how do you do that? What are your workplace policies? How are we implementing those things? And we're going to really work hard on this. And trust me, someone who's entirely involved in the medical marijuana bill in the House of Representatives, the resistance to this is not nearly as tough as it was for that, especially in the House of Representatives. So I feel encouraged by that. I mean, look, I'm a retired law enforcement officer. People say, why?
my answer to that is, this is an enforcement effort. This is an attempt to take violence. This is an attempt to take money out of the hands of the people who are hanging people from bridges. I mean, drug trade is extremely violent. If we can take the marijuana trade and tax it, regulate it, make it safe, I think everyone is better off. Homegrown, I mean, there's some real concerns about homegrown because, in the medical marijuana industry, for instance, there is, the testing procedures are so stringent. They're required by the Department of Health to test so stringently. If there's homegrown, there's no tests. So one of the things we're trying to do, one of the main tenets of this bill is to make it safe because people are dying from lacings and things like that. We want to make it safe. So the homegrown thing is a difficult one. I know it's a bone of contention, but we have to make sure we do this the right way. So for right now, unless I can receive some really strong testimony from someone, homegrown is not